Hey everybody, welcome to the Rebel Intel channel where we discuss anything and almost everything intelligence, international relations, homeland, national and global security, conflict analysis and resolution, geopolitics, military, law enforcement, anti-money laundering, lots of cool things. Today I want to discuss in basic, high overview international relations terms on their three main theoretical frameworks: constructivism, liberalism, and realism. Regarding recent news coming out that all of these countries like Canada, Australia, Great Britain, France, they've all officially recognized Palestinian statehood and call for a two-state solution. Meanwhile, Netanyahu in Israel and Trump in the United States reject this idea. What does this all even mean? So let's get into it real quick. From a constructivist viewpoint, the constructivist perspective would argue that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is fundamentally about clashing civilization, identity, narratives, historical, cultural, religious, even language beliefs, rather than a simple struggle over territory. It emphasizes how the identities of Israeli and Palestinian are socially constructed through ongoing interaction, which shapes their security interests and perceptions of the other as an existential threat. For constructivists, the solution lies not in changing material power, but in transforming these shared ideas and norms through dialogue and the recognition of each other's historical narratives. How many of you believe that a constructivist lens would resolve the issues in the Middle East and provide for some type of framework of lasting peace and stability? From a realist perspective, a realist would see the conflict as an unavoidable struggle for power and security in an anarchic system. The current war, the suspected international humanitarian law violations on both sides, the rejections by Netanyahu and Trump of the two-state solution, these are all seen as rational, self-interested actions by states seeking to maximize their survival and relative power. By the way, the Palestinians, they would probably reject a two-state solution as well. As part of Palestinians will never recognize Israel, and most Palestinians will never recognize the previously drawn up lines for basically creating the borders. From a liberal perspective, a liberal approach views the conflict as a failure of diplomacy, international institutions, and a lack of democratic governance. The solution would be to strengthen international law, international humanitarian law, law of armed conflict, empower organizations like United Nations to enforce a two-state solution, and promote economic interdependence between Israelis and Palestinians. The recent recognitions of Palestine by European countries are seen as a positive step towards multilateral cooperation, though this view is challenged by the rejectionist stances of those key leaders and the perception that international institutions are failing to prevent a humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, in other related news, naval forces of Turkey with some frigates and cruisers are patrolling the coastal regions just off of Syria's border to help support the new Syrian government. Israel sees this as an existential threat. So recently, a pretty popular Israeli scholar, Meir Musri, posted on his social media, "Today Qatar, tomorrow Turkey." That was shortly after Israel conducted their strike in Qatar on the Hamas personnel out there trying to close out those Hamas accounts. In Ankara, Turkey, they responded pretty sharply. In unusually harsh language, a senior advisor to President Erdogan wrote, "To the dog of Zionist Israel, soon the world will find peace with your erasure from the map." In Washington, D.C., Michael Rubin, a senior fellow at the right-leaning American Enterprise Institute, suggested that Turkey could be Israel's next target and warned that Turkey should not rely on its NATO membership for protection. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.